Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of Battleship. This movie is directed by actor and director Peter Berg, who was in movies like Corky Romano, Copland, and who directed movies like Hancock and The Rundown. This movie stars Taylor Kitsch, Alexander Skarsgård, and Rihanna, with Brooklyn Decker, Liam Neeson, and Tadanobu Asano. Now, the plot of this movie is during a naval training exercise, these alien ships crash land in the Pacific Ocean, and inexplicably they decide to trap 3 of the naval ships inside this inescapable dome, and that's when all hell breaks loose, not only in the Pacific Ocean but also in other locations in the world. And going into this movie, I didn't think it was going to be very good. I thought it was going to be like Battle Los Angeles in the ocean, or maybe even like Top Gun meets Skyline. And so I saw the movie, and yeah, it was bad, but with a little pleasant surprise here and there. But other than that, when you have a movie that's named after a board game, you can't expect this movie to be any good, because either they were going to throw in some aspects of the board game of how you play it, which they actually did, or they were going to make a movie that had nothing to do with the board game and just this awesome action movie that had a pretty much pointless title. But they went with the first one. And because they did that, it wasn't as action-packed, and it wasn't as deep, and the movie had plot holes, and they didn't explain a whole bunch of stuff in the movie of why aliens did what they did. And so it was a mess, but you have to go into the movie knowing, hey, this movie is probably not going to be any good, and you just have to get past your anger of why they do certain things in the movie, and then just enjoy the ride and you'll be fine. As far as the acting goes, Taylor Kitsch brought a lot of the acting skills and charisma that he did from John Carter over to this movie. He played the guy that wasn't too serious about much, didn't really care about anything, and due to unfortunate circumstances is forced to step up and be the heroic leader that everyone relies him to be. Then you have Brooklyn Decker as his girlfriend, who was just there to look pretty, because most of the movie she's just trapped on an island going on a hike with a veteran, and she really doesn't do much. Alexander Skarsgård isn't in the movie as much as I wanted him to be, but he did a really good job, and I wish he was in it more, so he did a good job. Liam Neeson, one of the few reasons why I actually wanted to see this movie, he's in it for like maybe 10 minutes at the beginning and then again at the end, but he didn't do much. He couldn't do much, I should say, because his character, you know, is this hard-nosed guy. He's like the bald commanding officer in Top Gun, where he's this hard-nosed guy that has high expectations of his crew, and because of what happens in the movie, he's just forced to just sit there and just wait, and he can't do much. So he was okay for his role, but he really didn't have to be in this movie. And then you have Rihanna. Rihanna, who wasn't as bad as I thought she was going to be, but it seemed like she was just doing her best Michelle Rodriguez impression as far as the whole tough chick goes. So the acting was alright. The dialogue for the first 45 minutes was just terrible, especially coming from this blonde, Matt Damon-looking younger brother type guy named Orty, I think his name was. That was pretty bad, the way they spoke and stuff. But bright side to this was that Peter Berg had his cast and crew on board with actual naval personnel, so they could get the dialogue and lingo down, kind of like what they do with Act of Valor, so that helped. But the only real shining moment in this movie, to me, was by the captain with the last name Nagata, who's played by Tadanobu Asano. He played Hogun in Thor. He's in a couple other movies. Really good job on his part. I actually enjoyed his character more than I did Taylor Kitsch's, so that's got to tell you something. So, because this movie was just mindless action and explosions and probably would have looked pretty good in 3D, from a rating of a 1 to a 5, I'm going to give this movie a 2.5, just because you have to suspend all disbelief and forget about the plot holes and everything else, and it'll be a good time. So, till next time, guys, see ya. Now, with a movie like this, I also want to tell you, yeah, there's either stuff after the credits or there isn't stuff after the credits, but I honestly don't know because I bolted out of this movie. That's how much I was waiting for it to be over. Now, if you were dissatisfied with the movie like I was, do what I did and go pick this movie up. It just came out, and give it a watch because Liam Neeson's more badass in this movie, and it's simply much better.